In preparing for today, we had that conversation yesterday, and we actually spoke about that coaching conversation, I think it was probably a year and a half before the end of your career. So it was right towards the back end of your career. We sat in your garden in Newlands with Table Mountain overlooking us, having a conversation around cricket. And there was one particular session, and you actually wrote a reflection and sent it to me. And with your permission, if I can read one or two sentences and then just reflect on, this was your reflection then, and then to reflect back on this reflection now. You said, when last did you even read or see this reflection that you wrote?
A long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, so in one of the places you said, I see my career as a constant battle against the odds and against my limitations. I'm not comfortable and I have no confidence in my game until I'm in the zone, a place I want to get to quickly when I walk to the crease. But to get there, I need to overcome the baggage that stands in my way. In that baggage exists a phrase called fear of failure, which I'd like to unpack with you. A place where negative juices thrive and multiply. In fact, they breed so well, they have the ability to overwhelm, restrict any form of confidence, knowledge, or experience. Anxiety, tightness, short of breath, sweating, chaos, lack of time, lack of a direction, lack of focus are all common elements that exist in the fear of failure tunnel. And this was your experience and your hand then. If you were to reflect back on what you'd said there and your fear of failure as a player.
My reflection is simple. It is very real.
Yes.
It's horrible. And it's very real.
Is that something that you just get over and get rid of?
No.
What do you do with fear of failure?
No. It never goes away, in my view. It doesn't go away. You just learn to manage. You learn to manage it better, but fear of failure doesn't go away. I never, at any stage in my career, felt that it went away, that I didn't have fear of failure.
And it's interesting because how often people recognize or realize that I have this fear of failure. And as a mental coach, personally, I have so many people come to me and say, will you help me get rid of my fear of failure? Because obviously it's a weakness. I've got this mental weakness in my armory because I've got this fear. And you're saying it's something that it never goes away. It's not something you can actually...
I didn't think so. My journey through it was... I was always fearing failure because... my self-worth and my identity was based on being able to be successful, and my success was scoring runs as a player.
Yeah.
So I always had the fear of not scoring runs, because if I wasn't scoring runs, then I wasn't worth anything.
Yeah. So you'd attached your identity to your results.
Correct.
So Gary the Kirsten and Gary's results became linked to each other.
Yeah.
And that is where fear of failure or pressure to succeed
Correct.
is the close cousin to fear of failure, is pressure to succeed.
Yeah.
And pressure and fear, I've said it before, two of the biggest mental obstacles to success in sport.
Correct.
And that both of them are directly related to attaching ourselves to the results. Pressure being attached to really wanting to do well, fear attached to really not wanting to do badly.
Correct.
And that was your thing, was the not wanting to do badly and to fail.
Yeah. My identity, self-worth. When I did well, I felt big. When I did badly, I felt small.
So if I can remind you what you wrote in 2004, your next paragraph on from that was, where does this overanalysis, this fear of failure come from? I think it comes from a place called your ego, a place where emotion, vulnerability, weakness, freedom, accepting yourself are taboo, and where pride, a sense of belonging, adopting the values of society, impressions, and the public perception do. It comes from fitting in with society, looking good, creating a good image for those around you, people liking you and to fit in with their style and being successful at what you do. You said here, make no mistake, it also has given me the determination to succeed and continue to prove people that I do fit into this ego-driven community. But ultimately, what is success and what drives people to go through their ego to conform to the values of society? Is it status, being one up on your peers, being able to deal with adversity the world offers, or simply just I'm more successful because I stay at the office until 8 p.m.? Who are we trying to look good for? Who are we trying to be impressed? And most of all, what does it all actually mean?
Well, I've got two reflections on that. One was it's a flipping impressive English from a guy who got a D in Matrica. So I don't know where I got that from. That was my one reflection. The other reflection is I made the comment, what is success?
Yeah.
And I think I'm still learning that. Defining success for me is one of the greatest challenges of the modern era, you know. Not the modern era at any time, but it's just like, how do we define success as individuals, you know? Because that's where that's at.
And at the time, your definition of success was runs. And you recognize your egos and your need to look good's attachment to that.
Everything, yeah. Everything was about scoring runs. There was nothing else that was important. And I became very insular. I became, actually, as my wife would articulate very well, you actually became a horrible person at times. Just self-centered, focused on myself. It was all about me.
I'm not going to read, but you went on in that letter to talk about you wanted to find the authentic Gary Kirsten. So part of the thing is you wanted to look good against the short ball, and this triggered you on a journey of, so who is the authentic Gary Kirsten beyond that ego and scoring runs?
Yeah. And I think that's had an impact on my life. I mean, I think as I've journeyed, I've become more comfortable with who I am, the older I've got. Yes, I think we always, as individuals and as people, we're striving to be successul in whatever we do, aren't we? We all want to show that we can add value, make a contribution to society, and stand up and say, you know, we've done some good stuff. But I think what I have realized more and more is that I'm comfortable with who I am, more comfortable with who I am now. People say, oh, well, anyone can be when they get older. But I think it's really, the thing that's been really important to me is that I embrace learning. I accept that other people can be better than me. I'm happy with who I am, but I'm not happy just being who I am. I need to continue, you know, improving day in and day out, 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 day in and day out.